Creve Coeur District 76 Board of Education meeting is now called to order. Roll call, please.
Giddens.
Here.
Cagle. Here. Catherine Reagan. Val Reagan.
Here.
Tyler.
Here.
Griner. Here. Bailey.
Here. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Welcome to everyone that's here. Are there any comments from the audience on action items on the agenda? Okay. Need a motion regarding the minutes, please.
Make a motion to approve the meeting minutes from the regular meeting date, April 10, 2018. Second.
Any questions, comments on the minutes? Roll call, please.
Giddens.
Aye.
Cagle. Aye. Val Reagan.
Aye.
Tyler.
Aye.
Griner. Aye. Bailey.
Aye, motion carried. Need a motion regarding the payments list.
Make a motion to approve the payments list dated April 18, 2018. Second.
Any questions?
No, but did we get, because I think we asked at the last board meeting, we needed a breakdown of what the costs are of outgoing students.
Mr. Whiston has that for us, I think, under
Later?
superintendent
Okay, great.
comments. So
Because
yes,
I've seen a few bills here.
yes, very expensive.
Busing and.
Yeah, a lot. Yeah.
Any other questions?
Real short.
Short list this time, yes. Roll call, please.
Giddens.
Aye.
Cagle. Aye. Val Reagan.
Aye.
Tyler.
Aye.
Griner. Aye. Bailey.
Aye, motion carried. Need a motion regarding the treasurer's report.
Make the motion to approve the treasurer's report dated March 30th, 2018. Second.
Any questions on the report? Roll call, please.
Giddens.
Aye.
Cagle. Aye. Val Reagan. Aye. Tyler.
Aye.
Griner. Aye. Bailey.
Aye, motion carried. Need a motion regarding the activity fund report.
I'll make the motion to approve the March LaSalle School Activity Fund Report.
Second.
Any questions? Comments? So I have a question. Fourth grade field trip to Charlotte's Web. Do they only get one field trip per year? Mr. McCormick?
Charlotte's Web was third grade.
Ah,
That's a typo.
okay. So that would explain they only get one field trip per grade level, right?
They do only get one field trip per grade level,
But,
but sometimes you have an incentive or something along those lines that we don't necessarily count as a field trip.
okay. Any other questions?
And the fourth grade is going to the Peoria Chiefs game, is
That
that?
is an incentive. That is a book reading, book it, I believe, incentive
Okay.
that they have to earn.
All right.
Oh,
Very good.
Grades or something. We approved it earlier this year.
All right.
I said we approved that earlier, like this year.
It's been a while though,
Yeah.
yes.
Okay. Roll call, please.
Giddens.
Aye.
Cagle. Aye. Val Reagan.
Aye.
Tyler.
Aye.
Griner. Aye. Bailey.
Aye, motion carried. Need a motion regarding the Parkview activity report.
I'll make the motion to approve the March Parkview School Activity Fund Report.
Second.
Any questions?
I was a little confused, I'm glad you said March, because I was like, okay, this was last year, and we have all
She is
this.
giving us a full year of the group reports.
Okay,
So the only thing that's new on there is the March
March.
part of that. And then just the March general activity.
okay, I was kinda confused about, I thought we approved this one.
Yeah, she's been doing, just giving us the full
Okay.
report.
I thought it was just an
That's
audit
fine.
that we needed to do something like that.
Any other questions? Roll call, please.
Giddens.
Aye.
Cagle. Aye. Val Reagan.
Aye.
Tyler.
Aye.
Griner. Aye. Bailey.
Aye, motion carried. Need a motion regarding Chromebooks.
I'll make the motion to approve the purchase of 156 Chromebooks, 156 licenses, and 5 Chromebook charging stations in the amount not to exceed $44,873 from PCMNG.
Second.
Discussion? Questions?
When we got Chromebooks to begin with, we thought it would help with, like, testing and, academics, is it?
You can answer that. Test scores haven't went up.
Curriculum, I would say.
Is it helping?
Curriculum is all getting technology integrated. Is it helping? I think so.
I think so. I think it'll help support the teachers. Yes.
Okay, I was just wondering.
This was the request of the principals, how many they needed or felt they needed in their buildings to, for this year. And we did get extra title money, which is going to be used for that we didn't expect, so.
And will this give everyone a one-to-one ratio?
Close, I believe, at Parkview. anyway.
At Parkview, we will have 2 classrooms without a cart. The 7th and 8th grade American History classroom would not have a cart, and then the 7th and 8th grade science classroom would not have a cart. But the science classroom does have a cart in the lab area. I'm sorry, has laptops does have computers in the lab area. Yes.
Okay, so they could utilize those?
Yes.
Okay, I was just wondering if it would give us one-to-one yet.
Yeah,
Getting closer.
but I think he's wanting to stagger, so that when they, they get older, we don't have them all to buy again. We can buy so many per year, because I don't know what the life of the Chromebooks are yet.
We've talked about doing it both ways, and there's pros and cons to both ways, so.
Right, because if there's like carts not being utilized at times, they could use good
Sure.
Right.
Yeah.
grab them. Okay.
Roll call, please.
Giddens,
Aye.
Gagel. Aye. Delregan.
Aye.
Tyler.
Aye.
Griner.
Aye.
Bailey.
Aye, motion carried. All right, there will be no action taken on E7, the locker room. As Mr. Whiston stated, the architects will be here at the May 22nd meeting. We'll go from there. All right, does the board wish to make a motion at this time on E8 or wait until after executive session?
I'd wait till after executive session, but I thought we made a motion already to hire her. Oh. We didn't hire them.
Well, not for next year.
Okay.
Oh, this is for next, oh,
Not for
that,
next
you're
year, we
right.
didn't.
That's true.
So, and we needed a specific amount.
Right, we
of
wait
time,
time.
so, okay. Board's
Consensus.
recommendation, we will move it to after executive session then. All right, informational items. Do we have any written communication?
No.
Reminder of upcoming events. Next regular board meeting will be May 8th. Just a reminder that graduation is Thursday, May 24th. Staff retirement dinner is Wednesday, May 30th, 12:30 at the 5th quarter. Economic interest statements. Brenda, if you will fill yours out and give it to Stephanie tonight before you leave, and we'll get Ms. Reagan's.
Catherine's is already back, I meant to bring the receipt.
Oh, she mailed it in?
Yeah, she mailed it in,
Oh,
and
okay.
they sent back the receipt, so I'm sorry.
Bring that so we can have that on file. All right. I think that's it. Presentations and suggestions by board members. So far, it's only mine. We need building walkthroughs. When do you think the best time to do those? An off day? Or during the board meeting? It makes the board meetings really long. That's the only reason I'm questioning.
It's easier for me to do the same day.
The same day. What do you guys?
Or we could like maybe move most things to one board meeting, and then the board meeting just have walkthrough? Like have like one big board meeting 1 month, and have the walkthrough the other Tuesday?
Okay. And have very little on it, maybe just the payments list.
Right,
That's all that needs to
exactly.
be on it.
Or in some informative information,
and then walk through.
Want to walk
So
through
May
all,
22nd then would be your big
No.
meeting.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
we
That'd
don't have
be
to do the
okay.
walkthrough, the 20, that.
Well, we could do it the 8th. But we need to get it done before school's out.
South, yeah, so we can get
So
lost.
how about one on a Tuesday, on a meeting night, and
Uh-huh.
then maybe the following Tuesday do the other building?
No, because that's gonna be a long meeting. So-
On a non-meeting night. We need to get this done before the end of
Can
night.
we do 2 in one night and have like a short meeting, very, very
Both
short
buildings?
meeting? Yeah.
It's up to you. Mr. Gibbons?
Are you saying May 8th, do the walkthroughs? Okay.
How about Homewood Heights?
Can we do that a little bit later, like in June?
We could,
At
because
least
they
we can
won't
get
start
started,
cleaning
yeah.
there, or if they clean it all there. Okay. All right, so let's make May 8th. Building walkthrough,
start at Parkview?
it's fine. Okay.
Yeah, unless,
Can you do the meeting first or after?
Better do the meeting first. And make the agenda as short as possible. That should work.
should we have the meeting at Parkview or the
Yes.
South?
Oh, I see what you're saying.
I mean, if we're gonna have a meeting here, we can start here
Yeah, let's start at Parkview. Let's,
and have the meeting at Parkview.
you okay? Meeting at Parkview on the 8th,
Start at Parkview.
walkthroughs,
Okay.
beginning at Parkview and then the South. Okay, that'll work.
6 at Parkview?
Mm-hmm.
Make sure there's not a game or anything on.
Just got calendars right there, guys.
Good point. Band come.
Anything else on
Or
it?
no, that's the
Right,
ninth. Hold on, ninth,
it
eighth.
just says Board of Education meeting. Okay. We will attempt to do that then. Okay, student awards. If anyone read my recap, which I don't think anybody reads it, do you?
She throws stuff in there.
Yeah.
Just a test.
Just to test you to see
Not
if
really
you
a
read it.
recap, it's like, where did this come from?
I need ideas, for a Bachler Student Award. I need some kind of criteria, and what do you think would be appropriate to give the student? Right now, we give top 10 medals, we give plaques for several different awards. I know the Ruder Award's one, the other one. They give a laptop for most improved 8th grader
Garmin.
for the Garmin Award. So we need something. So be thinking about that.
I think we need to know what awards are given and the criteria for those awards.
Okay.
And then that way, maybe we're not duplicating,
That's a big deal.
you know, if they have the
Say it
same.
again, Val.
Well, see
Don't
what the
get-
other awards are and what their criteria is, and then develop another one for, that way it's not a duplication of the same award.
Exactly.
Like the same kid's not gonna get it, or,
We need to come up with that
Soon.
very quickly.
like next
So-
board meeting.
So we can get a copy of those other awards before the next meeting.
Yeah, sometime during this week would be
Yeah, can you
good.
just email us that?
Yeah, email that.
Good idea, Randy.
All right. Nothing else from the board? Reports from the administration. Mr. Whiston? What would you like to start with?
Before I forget this, I better mention this. Had 2 phone calls, down the hill, there's they're bringing in some bands this weekend. And if there's rain, they want to park these, because they think they might have to park cars in Rushi's Park, okay, from this. So, but Percy's is the black and
Oh,
orange,
mhm.
used to be Wild Tales or something like that, but it looks, they've done a lot of work. Boy's name is, let me look here, Jacob came up and says, could we use your parking lot? And I said, I'll discuss that with the board. They're meeting, they're having 3 bands coming this weekend, one's a country band. He said they've sold 1,500 tickets, and they might sell another a couple thousand kids, it might be a couple hundred students. But they don't have parking down there. They're gonna park in Rushy Field. I'm not sure how they're getting back down there. If it's a rainy weekend, he says, could we use your south parking lot? I figured that'd be a good board discussion start.
See if it's liability, that's my first,
He did
That's my
say he
first
would,
thought.
he could insure the parking lot.
What about if anyone falls from having too
you're
much?
still gonna be on that
They're gonna
track.
use Rushi's field, I know that, and they're having, some type of bus or some kind of shuttle or something, that's gonna be bringing them back and forth. And they were looking for a liquor liability policy that I don't know was actually put in place yet. I do know that kind of information. So I don't know that it's really wise for them to use our field.
Okay,
Our
if
parking
they're
lot.
already using
Oh.
Rushy Field and the village has okayed that, I assume,
Yeah.
why can't they use Heroes Hall?
Exactly.
Because that's a paved area.
Okay.
They've got, I think they've got
It's
enough
part of the
area
village.
between
Right.
Rushi's field and Heroes Hall. I don't know necessarily that we should be taking on that kind of liability as a school district.
I'm surprised they didn't ask across the street if they could just use theirs. Never
Right.
Eagle
Maybe they
place.
already are,
I
Yeah, that's true.
guess they probably did. With Latin.
probably. Okay, just,
I
yeah,
would almost
tell
tell
him.
them at this short notice,
Sure.
we can't get ours put together with
Oh,
our.
we can't get our
Tell them
liability
Heroes
together.
Hall.
Exactly.
Use that building.
Well, wait, I would tell them that, I would just say we can't get our liability put together.
And Heroes Hall is
Well,
part of the
you
village,
can't volunteer other people.
Right.
but it's
No.
part of the village.
Right,
They
I
should
would
know.
say-
So he
That's
needs to
not-
talk to the
Them,
village
yeah, he
about
needs to
it.
talk to the village about their
Right.
options. Because
Okay, good.
they're looking at liquor liability for
Well,
you
they've
guys
already
too,
got
right?
liquor
If you
liability and all
look
that
in
stuff
your
put in
board
place.
book, it has item F4, this one, you'll look at that, and make sure, amend the budget. A lot of these things, some of them involve summer school, the summer school grant we got, different things you can read, I'm not gonna read them all to you. Life safety repairs, toward the bottom, working cash. Money goes in, revenue, on 90 at the top, it comes back in toward the bottom on the 70, the working cash. That's 209,000, that's the biggest payment we have there. Comes in, goes right back out, working cash transfer, life safety. The list on the left is what we had originally. The second list on the right is what we're changing it to. So, but you can look at those. Shelley's worked on those, done a good job with that.
And please note the special ed transportation. We budgeted 150,000, we're having to move it up to 230,000.
Yeah, I seen that, that's why,
It's way on the line.
yeah, and how much do we get back for that? Don't we get like 75%
I
back?
thought it was 80, 75?
I would say 70.
70.
So, 50,000 will be out of pocket, no more than that, 70,000,
What cost us?
Mhm.
so we need to do something.
And summer school has not, we do not have that money in hand yet, correct? The summer school grant.
No.
When
It's
do
a
we
guarantee.
anticipate getting that?
I was told soon when we first looked at that. Shelley did send it in within the last week. We filled it out and it was filled in and sent in. So it
Okay, I
was
thought it
just,
was before that, okay.
no, we just sent it in after our last administrators meeting we had here before school. She sent it that morning.
So altogether, special ed is $500,000 right now. Cost.
And I can talk a little bit about
Okay,
that.
when you get there.
A little bit. Let's go there now. Special ed. I don't think I've handed this out. You all wanted out-of-district students?
Yes.
So I made this first sheet as simple as I could, took names off. Couple on there. A couple. I will say, when I came into the district, I looked at an old sheet. We had 3 students at Shrum, we had 4 students at Kiefer, so we had 7 out-of-students people. Now we have 5 at Shrum, 6 at Kiefer, which gives you 11, and we have another at Black Partridge, Park Ridge, in Germantown Hills, we have the one ECE student at Melissa Kenton in Peoria. So we have, I put at the bottom 13 students out of district now. We used to have, when I came here, 7. So that number has almost doubled. The Schrum kids, I know the board has talked about, and how can we, special ed's costing us a lot, it's $500,000, over $500,000. How do we, there's been discussion about bringing the students back, takes a lot of personnel. Busing is a big part of special ed, so that's something to look at. First student does our transportation first, special ed, they do a good job. Busing's expensive. Talked to Mr. Plater, who's in Havana. He said first student used to do all the busing, they had a negative busing. They got 13 new buses and leased them, and he says, we're not spending as much now. Got our own drivers and we did that. So that's a whole new, getting drivers, there's a shortage of drivers
Exactly.
everywhere. So there's just a lot of, it'd be easy if we said, okay, we can just buy buses, save this much money, have drivers. It's a lot more complicated than that. But just as far as students, Shelley actually has the second sheet, lots of where the money's going. My question, was, you look at Schramm and I think, why are some students 24,000, why are some 52,000? It doesn't make sense, they all should be charged the same. The 24,000 student, the second student, parents transport her, so we're not charged for her transportation. So if everyone drove to Schramm, it would be 24, but I'm talking, you had one at 52, 703, you think, well, why is that one? The person's in a wheelchair, the regular students don't have any extra busing expense. It's 39,673. One of them is 40,000. That person has a car seat, so it makes a little bit of a difference. The Easter Seals kid kind of caught my attention because when you look at tuition per day, at Schramm it's $115, at Kiefer it's $143. I'm like, at Easter Seals $214. Wow, that's a lot higher than the other two schools. We had one student going there. The safe school, the $500 a day isn't true. That's actually, they're the cheapest place for us to send someone to safe school. It's $500 for the year. They don't have a lot of costs. It's the bus.
That's per year.
Yeah, per year.
Okay.
So you see how those numbers per year, it's not that much over there. Busing is the cost there. Kiefer has been consistently what it is. We do have a student leaving Kiefer, going to be homeschooled, not homeschooled, going to be homebound for the remainder of this year. I can talk more about that student later. But Kiefer has grown. You can see what I do like. We have the grades. Someone said we have 2 8th grade students that'll take 2 off. Well, we have 2nd, 3rd, 5th, 6th. So we have a lot of students there, and they're going to be coming back there. So I think the first sheet, the fact that we went from 7 students to 13 students in less than 2 years.
So what happens if a student moves out of district or schools?
They go to that state or wherever and probably find a type of school like that.
So
Most,
are we still responsible for paying?
Out of district.
as soon as they,
Once they go out of district?
Yes.
we have a student, we have an 8th, if we have an 8th grader fail this year, that it's, they've already got a student set for Bloomington next year. And that's 60,000 if she doesn't pass 8th grade. So we're really working with that student next year. That person's going to be at East
And who
Peoria
determines that? Their IEP team?
if they pass or not.
No,
No.
Where she goes to
Determines
school.
where she goes to school.
IEP team.
yeah, maybe explain one day, not maybe now, the difference in the schools, what Bloomington has to offer that Kiefer or Schramm doesn't have to offer.
Principals jump in anytime they want to, but Kiefer is a school where BD behavior type. Schramm is a definitely
Medical?
Medical, yeah.
medical, physical disabilities and things like that.
What's Bloomington have to offer?
Bloomington is High Roads It's a BB type school, like Kiefer, and after they fail at Kiefer, sometimes they send them to High Roads. We don't have anybody there now, we did last year. So,
Just wondering the difference in the schools.
yeah.
Mhm. Well,
Okay.
What about-
especially if she hasn't went to, she hasn't went to Kiefer yet, why don't you go straight to Bloomington?
Oh, this person that's going to Bloomington next year will be going to Bloomington, no matter where she's at, she's here, will be sending her in Bloomington. I think she'll pass though. And if she goes to East Peoria, we'll have to.
I just wondered,
Yeah.
Kiefer, why not Kiefer?
And Kiefer's a good option. They have people. But I think
What about the Hinton area?
that's just she's actually an ECE student, and that student is actually, it's a hearing impairment.
Oh, okay.
Hearing impairment.
And Black Partridge is, you said,
It's not the same school, it's the same, it is the same
It's
school.
part of it.
And that's
Like the
one of
same
the,
building.
there's like 3 schools up there, Easter
okay,
Seals.
so why is one
What's this?
sent there?
Yeah, what's
Well,
the special?
I had that person in Kiefer, not in Kiefer, but when they went to enroll that student, we had some major problems. That Kiefer would not take that student.
Okay, can I ask a question?
Yes.
We have a student at the safe school that might potentially be in place in Kiefer. Don't they need to come back to us?
And I think that person has already been placed in Kiefer, and it's because the IEP, I think once they found out he did not have an IEP, now has an IEP, and Kiefer is the right setting for him. And I can share names later on that.
Yeah, well, I just meant, I thought they had to come back to us.
Once they got kicked out, is that what you're saying?
Well, once they're out of that school, yeah, they're ours, and we determine.
One thing I found out this year is I know Dan spends a lot of time at IEP meetings at Kiefer and Strong. He actually will be gone for an afternoon, will be down, and he's here 2 days a week, second semester, 3 days first semester. So he actually spends a lot of time out of district with these meetings with these students. And principals jump in on any of these.
And we have 13,
13? I got,
between Strom and,
between those two, we have 11 students. And the other 2 would be Black Parkview.
how often do you do an IEP meeting on a student?
Once a year?
Once a year? Okay.
Every year.
Once a year for review, every 3 years they do a full review.
Thank you. Okay. Once a year, and then every 3 years. Okay.
All right. What else do you have, Mr. Riston?
Everybody did get my 2 sheets I had on that. I'm glad we talked about our next couple meetings. Dan Jacks is going to be at our next meeting. I said, when's a good time for you to talk about this? I thought I would hand the information out to you. When I talked to Dan about what our plans are with special ed, he had talked about having one more special ed teacher and maybe at halftime, maybe 1/2 lesson. So we lose maybe half an aide. We hire one more teacher for next year. And this,
hired aides.
and I'm just gonna hand this to you. He actually put a nice little handout together. He said he'd go over it next time. He would be here.
And when will he be here?
Next board meeting. So I
That
know
would be
it's
at,
The walk at the short
part of
meeting.
the short meeting.
No, no.
You wanted a second?
At the 20th. Yep.
Second, we can go to the second.
Well, I mean, I guess we're gonna have.
You wanted the second one?
22nd.
Okay.
That's gonna have a really long meeting that night.
We don't even have to, we can do it in June.
I did talk about Jim Hollenbeck. I talked to him on the phone yesterday. I just said our board wants more detail. I said, I said basically, when you tear things up, you tear things out. I don't know what we're tearing up. You know, and he went into the door frame and the door and everything that has water with it, the floor, on and on. But he did say he would get the information out. We did talk about specs. Another name for specs. I talked to Steve about that, but 22nd, he actually teaches a class on Tuesday night, and the 22nd is he's got a free night because class is ending, I think, on the 15th. So he said the 22nd would work well for him. Evan Grifford, I did want to talk about that. 7 to 10 days ago, we had a guy do a walkthrough. He was from Ameren, but he wasn't employed by Ameren, but Ameren contacted him. He was out of Milwaukee. He came down and did a walkthrough of Parkview School, looked at all the lighting. He had Evan's exact plans. He was counting lights. He says, this looks good, looks good. He's worked with Evan before. Says, you know, it'll be a week before I get this sent off or before it will be approved. There should be no problem to be approved. Haven't heard anything back, so I called Evan today. Evan says it was approved 5 days ago. I've ordered the stuff. It's about half of it's in. I'll start putting it in next week. He said I'll need a place to stage things. I don't know what that means. He says basically a 10 by 10 space or 10 by 15 space where he could put his lights, his tools. I think the question we have is if we're going to tear those lights out down there. I know the first company said they'd have to get a dumpster. I haven't talked to Evan about that. I think I maybe mention that, but if we do a couple rooms at a time, maybe we won't have to have a dumpster.
No, you're not tearing as much down with this company.
Not
The
tearing
main-
it down.
Yeah, the main unit is staying up there, so.
So he said he would probably start next week. When he first got the project, he said 2 weeks. I'm sure it'll be closer to a month before he's finished, but he's raring to go and got the stuff ordered, some of it's coming in. He just said sometime next week he would be starting on that project. I think that's all I've got for now.
How about the NAPS scores?
Yes, I do have them. Actually, I told the principals they would have
Okay.
those. And I can churn in on those too.
Mr. McCormick? Is that right?
Yep.
Yes. First?
First, second.
First, second, yeah.
You mentioned the award for Mr. Bachler, and I'll give you my 2 cents on that.
Please.
Just because I grew up knowing Don in a totally different setting than this for his summer work that he did running the swim pool. So to me, now here, I see him as a very well-rounded person. So one thought would be to give it to a very well-rounded student, somebody who succeeds not only academically, but also in other areas around.
Very good.
We have lots of travel coming up, so you pointed that out earlier with 4th grade, but I'm going to hit on some of the highlights. Mrs. Bell is taking students to the symphony. We are taking a staff outing to see Mamma Mia in Peoria. That's not during school time, though.
That would be fun.
Yeah. My wife is in that show, so.
Is she? Oh, wow.
2nd grade is going to Pekin to the, I can't pronounce it, program center. The program center where they set up, a program for them there. Kindergarten is going to the Challenger Space Center in Bloomington. That was one that, remind you, that's an expensive one, but Mrs. Battles and 2 teachers go to a free program, and Mrs. Battles won a free trip for 60 students. So since we have 75, it's a much lower cost per student when we divide that up.
Yeah.
So they should have a neat time over there. 1st grade is also heading to Pekin to the program center, doing a different program, different day, but
Okay.
same place. 4th grade is learning about aquatic cultures in East Peoria.
Fishing.
Okay.
And 4th grade is also heading over to Parkview the day after graduation to learn about being a 5th grader. The other thing of interest I noticed on the calendar upcoming is Friday, May 11th, we are doing pastries with pals. We're combining donuts with dads and muffins with mom. We're going to have donuts and muffins and invite everyone, because we do get a mixture of grandparents and in some cases it's a friend. So we're doing them together and calling it Pastries with Pals.
Doesn't work well. Been there, done that, doesn't work well. But, good luck.
Thank you. We did meet about a week ago on summer school. That was Shelley and Tony and Steve and I got together in the morning and kind of hashed through some of the details, made sure that Shelley had all the numbers straight to finalize for the grant. I believe Steve and I both have our teachers lined up for that. We're just kind of waiting to make sure, you know, everything falls into place before we start inviting our students. But they are aware of it because we did do a little survey for interest. And while we didn't get a great response to the survey, we only got about 46 surveys back, we had over 80% say yes, they were interested in it. So the percentage was good, it was just the return wasn't great.
This isn't directed necessarily to you. This is directed to everybody. Do we not have to post those positions with the unions?
We did internally. They were offered up to everybody.
Oh, you've already done it?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
okay. Thank you.
That's all I have.
You don't want to touch on summer school or reports till,
I just touched on summer school.
no,
Okay, did you post all positions or just teaching positions?
Teaching is all we have.
I,
You have
Oh.
cooks that will have to be employed, right?
yes, and my understanding was Michelle Davis took care of that. I don't know how she posted that or if she just said who's interested. Not sure.
All right. That's fine.
I would like to go back to one report you have in your, it's on finance. We don't talk a lot about finance, but I'll give you a quick little discussion on
All right.
finance. Right,
Sure.
it's on your table somewhere underneath.
Oh,
Keep looking. You don't have that.
no, I don't have it.
It's underneath that, bottom of that file. Okay. There you go. It's got a tape on the front.
Yeah, it's got it. It's under the thick one. No, you don't have it.
That's okay.
I got 20 extra.
All right.
Okay, first page.
Oh, look, I have two.
You see a lot of schools on there, but I did highlight Creve Coeur so we stick out. The first thing you see is Creve Coeur District 76 Elementary, and it says final percent of adequacy. Now, where do they get the number of 63? You know, if you look at area schools, I actually always like to do Havana because I know the superintendent there. They're at 61%. I said, Matt, what's that mean? He says, well, they've got this, one thing the state has done, they've changed a lot of things this year. You know, it used to be title, now it's Every Student Succeed Acts. It used to be called General State Aid, has been General State Aid forever. This year, it's called evidence-based funding. And that's where that 63% comes in. You think, what's that mean? Because I asked Matt, I said, what does 63% mean? He says, they think there's a formula out there, for instance, in the formula it has kindergarten. If you have 60 kindergartners, you should have 4 teachers. You should have 1 teacher for every 15 kindergartners. Now, people can't afford that. Now, Naperville, if you look at theirs, I think theirs is at 350%. You know, we're at 63. You know, they spend 3 times what they even are required to spend it, and we're not required to spend 100% of that. It just shows that we're running a school on 2/3 of what the state says we should be running on. We don't have a social worker. I'm sure that probably knocks us down some, but a lot of it is, I think we're overrated in some areas, but 63 is common in this area. I will like to point out that I think the new formula helps us a little bit. This year, we're gonna get $3,664,000 just on that general state aid payment. The evidence-based funding. That's actually $337,000 more than we got last year, which is always good, more than we had last year. The second page goes into 2018, evidence-based funding. On the third page, it talks about what our payments are per every 2 weeks. 22 payments, I believe. The last 5 payments of this year, if you look at the front page, go back to the front page, at $101,000. They keep talking about new money. We kept thinking, are we ever going to get the new money? Yes, we're getting the new money. We started getting the new money 3/20/2018. So you can see where that was a jump in pay of $16,944 for every payment. Those last 5 payments are $178,000. So that's a good thing. We're getting more money. People complaining how the government isn't giving us that much money and all that. Let's look at the positive. We're getting more than we got last year. Happy about that. But the 63% is interesting. I don't understand all the formula yet, but I do know kindergarten is 15 students. If you have 30, they expect you to have 2 teachers. If you have 60 and you only have 3 teachers, then they're going to say, they're going to knock you down. You're not going to be at 100%. So I probably need to look at that funding real close. But brief explanation of funding.
North Peak and Market Heights is at 65%.
Right, and Pekin was right in there too, so.
Yeah, so we're with about the same.
Naperville's 350, but that's a whole different. We don't know.
Naperville is not Creve Coeur. All right,
Well, the
Mr.
thing
John.
is sometimes our money has to go to other things. Does that count in here? Like, we have more speech therapists than any other school. So, I mean, does that count?
Sure it does. That would help us, I would think.
Right.
But, we don't
And
have.
transportation to other schools.
Mhm.
I mean, we're still spending it on the kids, just
Right.
In a different way.
not in the classroom because we can't.
Exactly.
I mean, maybe we just need to look at,
And we're like a lot of the other schools in this area, so we're not out of line.
Right.
right, but I mean, maybe we could just look at something to be more effective, I guess.
Well, if this is what they're looking at, special ed on the list.
But doesn't count transportation.
All right, Mr. Johnson. You have a report?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's good that the temperatures are finally starting to increase. Appears that we're rolling into springtime. That's a good thing. We're definitely into the getting into the end of the year activities. I'd like to recognize we had several staff who actually helped put on a wonderful spring dance party last Friday night. Student council sponsored the spring dance party. Mrs. Barton, Mrs. Starman, Mrs. O'Neill, Mrs. Strausser, the student council sponsor, coordinated and organized the event. Mrs. Giddens helped in the concession stands, and Mr. Kleesner was the DJ, music provider. For a springtime party dance, had a really good turnout. Students seemed to have a really good time, so very appreciative of Mrs. Strausser organizing that event. We've talked about the 10-year Health Life Study Report, and really there's not a whole lot new. DMI is going to be coming out to Parkview School later in the week to review the remaining electrical items, and then, the remaining HVAC items, and then laser electric. They are planning on them coming out in the summer to remedy the remaining electrical items. So with those two joining hands, so to speak, in the summertime, we should really be close on the 10-year Health Life Study Report. Mr. Whiston reported on the locker room and the lighting project. Had a scheduling meeting last week. We held an initial meeting. We had some good discussion. We talked about the schedule. We talked about the components of the schedule. We talked about the length of class time. And I scanned the survey results, the comments that our teachers provided. You have that in your packets. I emailed that to you tonight. So you'll see those comments that we shared and we talked about last week. And we also talked a little bit about tracking. And we had a good conversation about tracking and looking at that in the future. So I had a really good conversation, good starting point in regards to scheduling for the upcoming year. Mr. McCormick talked about summer school. We have just finished pinning our second student retention candidate letter this week, and we actually have those in the envelopes, and those will be mailed out this week. Our second form of communication to our parents and guardians of children who are in danger of not being successful this year. And right now, we have 38 student candidates, and that may decrease. We're hoping that that number will decrease. However, it may increase a little bit. It just depends on how the end of the year shakes out. So that's a little bit of an update on our student retention candidates. Ames Middle School Administrators Roundtable, that conference was actually, a roundtable was held last Friday, and was able to attend that. Really good conference, really good workshop. The coordinator of Ames, he talked about the Illinois Horizon School to Watch program, and it's a program that any middle school can apply to as long as you're a middle school in the state of Illinois. It's a competitive program, lengthy application, but if you succeed in your application, Ames will actually send a team of school improvement experts into your building, and it's at no cost. Now, this roundtable was actually hosted at Olympia Middle School, and Olympia had actually applied for this competitive grant 7 years ago, and the first time they applied for it, they couldn't get it because it's so competitive. And it's very, my understanding, I haven't seen the application, but just from listening to the individual from Olympia, they did comment that it's a very lengthy, competitive application. But now they did get the grant, and they're now considered to be one of these Illinois Horizon Schools to Watch. And this team from Ames, they're in helping their school and the teachers, and sounds like it's a really good thing. We also talked about school safety. The schools who actually attended this conference were all from Central Illinois. Obviously they were middle schools, but we talked about our building procedures. We also talked about ALICE training, and most of the school districts, school buildings who are represented at this roundtable had received some sort of ALICE training, and it was kind of refreshing for me to hear that I feel that we're very competitive with those schools who are actually attending this conference as far as where we're at with school safety. So that was good to hear. Teacher administrator hiring and recruiting. There was also 2 representatives from Illinois State University who attended this roundtable, and they were talking about the candidates who are actually coming out of Illinois State's College of Education. Right now, Illinois State has 37 candidates who ISU anticipates graduating and entering to the field of education. I got on ISA after school today, and I just did a really quick search, and I looked at the number of openings in Illinois right now on ISA Job Bank, and just K through 9 alone, I think there were close to 300 or more. So, long story short, our candidate pool, we've seen this, our candidate pool has been shrinking over the past few years. The other comment that caught our attention, not in a good way, was that the 2 reps from ISU was talking about Eastern Illinois University. And they referenced EIU, their enrollment in the College of Education actually decreasing to the point to where EIU is considering closing its College of Education. I never thought I would hear that. EIU used to be known as a teacher's college. Evidently, we're not getting those candidates, and there's a lot of reasons, and that's another story as far as why those youngsters aren't going into education. A lot of conversation about preserving the middle school model, and I actually took some pictures of their media center, and their media center was just pretty cool. And they've restructured it the last 2 years, and it's almost like you're walking into a coffee shop. I don't know if students walk into a coffee shop or not, but it kind of reminded me of a coffee shop. And you walk in, and the first thing that caught my eye was they had this huge big screen TV for instructional purposes, but they had their big flat screen TV on the wall. They had a little table around that, and a place for the teacher to provide some instruction. And then in the middle part of this room, of the media center, they had 6 recliners. They're these fancy chairs that you would find in a basement. They have the cup holders. Seriously, they have a cup holder in them. And the principal was talking about it. He said, boy, he said, the board gave me a hard time about this. He said, I didn't think we're going to get it. And he said, he thought that the kids would tear them up and, poke holes. And he said, we've had these chairs in this media center for 2 years, and they had one little hole to where a student had put a pen or pencil, knocked a little hole into it. But they had 6 of these nice chairs, recliners, to make the students comfortable for reading. And then they also had, and this really blew me away, it was almost like you walk into a Culver's restaurant or into a Wendy's where they have these booths, and they had like 6 booths back to back to back to back. And again, it's an area to where the students can come in and feel comfortable reading and learning. So anyway, it was kind of a nice thing to see and kind of refreshing. It's good to get out once in a while to see some different things that other folks are doing, but that was kind of cool to see. Also, Ames, they, if you have a building and if you've strayed a little bit away from the middle school concept, they will come in at no cost, and they'll help give you some ideas as far as getting some middle school ideas back into that building. And but anyway, that was a really nice round table, and I appreciate being able to go to that. I learned a lot. Yeah, I think that's pretty well it. Mr. Whiston talked about the special ed recommendations. Our 7th grade math position, that has been posted. Thank you, Stephanie Walton. Tentative summer projects, we're getting close. I know the board's going to be conducting some walkthroughs. I attached to this board report also some tentative projects that we would like to look at. Painting, not a lot of painting as compared to what we did last year. Baseball field, obviously they're painting the water tower. We've looked at that baseball field. Actually, I drove out at the field last night, and a lot of work is commencing. That tower's going to look nice when it's all said and done. But we've talked about that there's a yellow safety cap that goes across the top of that fence. We'd like to try to replace that, if we could, with a royal blue cap that would blend in nice with the swing set, with the water tower, the scoreboard. I think the village is looking at trenching and running some wire out to the scoreboard. We'd like to paint the scoreboard.
Okay, when they trench that, they need to trench down at least 1 foot, and we need to have an electrician on site to hook it up at that time.
Mm-hmm.
So we need to coordinate that.
Right.
Who's ever doing that?
Right.
Okay.
Right. But that's something else that we're looking at, would be the safety cap on the fence and the backstop. We've talked about the backstop. Really, the painting will be the easy part of that. We're also looking at the base of that backstop. I call it a miner's belt. I don't know what the proper terminology is, but there's a black thick belt that a lot of baseball fields have at the base. It's a belt that extends from the ground up to approximately 2 feet. And what that does, it just provides a buffer so that the ball will not roll under the fence. So I think Mr. Nettles is looking at that as well, to try to get some ideas. So in a nutshell, those are some things that we would like to look at for our baseball field that would improve the grounds. The local Kiwanis Club. One of our parents, Mr. Donaldson, I believe, is the president of the local Kiwanis Club. And Mr. Donaldson approached Mr. Whiston and I at a basketball game over the winter time, and we held a little brief conversation about Mr. Donaldson had communicated that he was wanting to maybe get the club involved in helping with some projects involved with athletics. So talked with Mr. Donaldson actually last night a little bit, and we talked about the baseball field. So I think Mr. Donaldson is going to take back to the Kiwanis Club membership some things that we've talked about, the safety caps, some of these other things that we're looking at to see if, maybe they can help with funding, or maybe they can help with the actual labor, the installation. So those are some things that we're looking at. So
When are they gonna get the tower painted, do you know? I mean, I know they have like the setup.
Well, what I understand, the gentleman, the contractor actually stopped in right before the last board meeting, and he had referenced that right now, their goal is to put the canopy around the water tower. And then they have to leave. I think they have to leave to go finish up a job they're finishing up off a site, and then they're coming back. But long story short, I believe that the contractor referenced June 15th, approximately the middle of June, because we talked about, we had some projects we were hoping to accomplish on the baseball field, and we were trying to get an eye on how late, when can we actually get in if we can get some of these other jobs finished. So I think approximately June 15th. Now that could occur before June 15th. It could occur a little bit after June 15th as well. But that's pretty much what he had referenced.
I was just wondering if it's gonna interfere with the baseball.
It should not. It should not. The other thing out there, the shed. We'd like to paint the shed to make it look a little bit better too. Now last year we had, I know we've talked about the Kiwanis Club possibly, if they're able to help us out, but last year we had some volunteers from CAT. I have reached out to our volunteers who helped last year, and things have changed a little bit. People have scattered a little bit, but we're still reaching out to those folks at CAT, and we're hopeful of getting those volunteers back as well to help us out. So.
Sounds good.
Yeah, so.
Now, I think the color of that water tower, they're trying to decide on painting it.
White.
Well, I had heard Parkview blue.
That would be awesome.
They told me white.
Well, they were talking last the other night, I overheard about Parkview blue,
I think that'd be good. Would match.
so.
Well, the village, don't they have like a lot of blue anyway?
I think so, yeah. Yeah, I don't know if that's been finalized,
The
but
water tower behind the police department used to be a light blue.
Yeah.
I had overheard that rumblings, but it'll probably end up being white.
Would be nice
Okay,
if it was
yeah.
blue.
But we're into April, and Parkview School's working hard. We're working hard towards the end of the year. So a lot of activities and events here. We're closing down shop, so to speak,
But not learning.
but not learning.
Right. Why don't you get us an estimate on that capping?
Sure,
Not saying
absolutely.
we'll do it, but
Sure.
look into it and see how much
Absolutely.
it's costing
Sure.
and whatever you call the black thing.
Just in
The
case the
belt,
Kiwanis
mining
can't.
Sure.
belt.
Yeah.
We gotta see if we can find it. If not,
Okay.
Mr. McCormick, I had a question
Certainly.
for you. You were gonna try that GoFundMe. Did that happen, or?
It has not happened yet. I actually spoke with a teacher about getting it started, and then I have not done anything with it.
I know you've been busy, it's just, I just wondered if you had, and we hadn't got a report back. Okay, Mr. Whiston, how about the map scores? We have this huge thing on our table.
Randy's had it, let me apologize, I gave it to Randy about a week ago, I think, so. he had
Randy,
it
you wanna
a
give
little
us a
earlier.
report?
Mick, do you want to say anything, Matt?
This is the raw data that
This is more,
I tried to drill down for you. Mr. Giddens wanted more, I believe this might have been the report he was looking for.
Was it? Okay.
Okay, so you have every classroom. You
Okay,
look-
give us an update, Mr. Giddens.
Oh, I got it, and I just was glanced at it because I've been working on policy. The thing I was looking at, and I had not done it with mine, I brought it with me. I wanted to go through and highlight where they were at, with the
Okay.
table
Yeah.
that maps, it's 2 or 3 years old now. But that's the most recent that maps use.
Okay.
That's
Their
the one with the
numbers.
orange and
Okay,
the red,
got
and
it.
things like that. And I just wanted to go through and highlight, see where we were at and how our kids are doing.
Did this give you more information?
This,
than what
this gives me everything that I wanted,
Okay.
but I thought everybody had got a copy.
No, we just now got ours, so
Okay,
it's kinda hard to comment when,
right, but that's what I was gonna do, is take that and highlight, see where our kids were at. You can see some of the kids are slightly off for that. It doesn't tell us how long they tested or anything like that, but it tells us about the growth, and that's what I was mostly interested in.
Okay.
Looking at where is the growth, how are we doing?
Looks like it shows negative growth on some too, which is what, one of the things we questioned on the other report.
Quite a bit on this one. Thing is, I know it's probably in here and I can't see it. What grade level is this one?
Okay.
Zero.
Zero's kindergarten. And then as you go through, you'll have,
Over to the left.
right,
Okay.
first grade, second grade, it has every student, or I'm assuming it has every student in here, all the way up through 8th grade.
But didn't we want to look like it last year's too?
I thought we were just looking at this spring, winter.
Well, and I
This
thought
spring, winter, I asked for last year's, but I didn't.
we wanted to track how they did in first
Right,
grade and
and
how the
Becky-
kids now doing in second grade and how the kids now doing in third grade.
And Becky really wants to look at this year, she's really excited about the end of this year, how the kids test. So we'll have 3 data points. She says, 2 data points, okay, 3 will be a lot better. I do have more information on Randy, every other sheet, I haven't got this, but this is something Donna sent me today. We sent her home with that information, she's sending this to me, it's, I don't wanna overload you with stuff, but there's, it's not from last year, but it is this year's information. And it's, I think it might be, it's just the information, more data. But don't, just remember, every other sheet is kind of a blank sheet here, right? Every other sheet, like a 5-1.
It's gonna take some time to go through.
Okay, how many points do they do? Don't they do 4? Or do they just do 3 with max?
3 testing during the year, just 3 points.
Right. But you've got 2 here, fall and winter.
Right.
Okay, and then they'll do
1 in the
Another
spring.
spring. I was thinking they did 1 when they first got to school, then 1 after 9 weeks, and then another 9 weeks.
No, they do 1 as soon as they, at first, and then middle, and.
Okay, thank you.
Maybe we could discuss it at the 22nd meeting again.
No, you're not gonna be here, so it has to be the June.
Great. Okay, maybe the June meeting, after we've had time to look through it.
Well, by the time the June meeting rolls around, we'll have that final report for that.
That's true.
Okay.
More
Then,
More data.
then do we want another one of these?
No, can we just get the final
I would think we could just get the final one and we could compare it with
And I might
this.
get with Randy on what I've got, and then,
All of that is just one report that you had.
where did it go?
Brenda didn't take it. Oh,
She
Brenda
took
did.
it. I know it can't be too far.
What's in it?
Oh, my God.
I don't know, she got a typo there.
Okay, did we cover all this? I believe so. All right, building and grounds.
Did we talk about a walkthrough at home, Maybe?
We're
That's
thinking maybe June.
June?
Let's get out of school, because it gets really busy in May, and maybe Savannah might not make that one, right? Okay.
Toby has done the work that was requested by the board. The door, that I thought they were gonna get in pretty quick, has been sealed very
Sealed.
good. They're gonna have tools to get in if they wanna get in.
Good. Okay, policy,
We'll be meeting Thursday, this Thursday.
and we will try to get through most of
October.
October. And then we'll be caught up. Not
Well, we got
quite.
that one short one.
Short October, February. Okay, technology.
I think we're good for now. We just approved those Chromebooks. Mr. Wendelin did say something about some professional development, but maybe we can do that later. Once school's out, and talk to him about that for next year maybe.
Parent-teacher advisory.
At a meeting next Wednesday, we're gonna have a meeting this Wednesday. The meeting last Wednesday, what we decided to do is everyone take the book home.
Go through it.
Yeah, right, and then discuss the changes. However, there's a couple things they wanted to know right off the bat, and I said I have to take to the board. First of all, they want to know if they could put the student handbook on the internet, because other schools do it. and when the parents come to like sign up, they only sign the piece of paper that says they will get it off the internet and they've read it. Or the ones who want a hard copy, we will give them a hard copy. This will save like copying dollars, and it's always on the internet then.
Our
And-
student handbook is on the internet.
Mhm.
It's on the webpage.
So we could just download the parent where they have to sign,
I think that's a good idea.
because it will save paper, and it will save, and then we can tell the parents it's there, when they sign up.
Right, we have copies there anyway.
Right, and we'll tell them it's there, on the
Okay.
internet, that way they can always go and access it.
Right.
Also, again, two things, they wanted 2 different handbooks, and I said, the board last time said no.
One district, one handbook.
Okay, so that's fine, but then can we divide it into 2 sections, like what pertains to Parkview more, like Parkview stuff together and LaSalle stuff together? I know a
Which
lot of
would be
it's
what?
overlapping. Like the locker rooms and the PE, buying PE clothes and things like that, that was all at Parkview.
Graduation.
Graduation, I mean, there was some things that were specific to Parkview. Also, I don't know if the dress code's different from school to school, it seems like,
Shouldn't be.
it seems like what they're allowed to do is different from school to school.
Should not be.
Okay. So, but that's what they were wondering, if we could divide it out into 2 different sections, or just leave it alone.
What do you guys think?
Doesn't matter.
It's not very,
I mean.
it's not very thick, let's face it.
Right.
You can go through it in a couple minutes.
Okay,
Mrs. Walton?
There's not a whole lot in there that is just Parkviews only.
right.
Yeah, so
Well-
you'd be moving everything to the back, cause
This-
how would you decide
Where it belongs.
where it belongs?
Well, like the cell phone policy even, I mean, they don't have lockers at LaSalle, they have lockers at Parkview. And they're told to keep their cell phones in the lockers.
Hmm. You might need to change the wording on that,
Again, the
and
PE
or book
clothes.
bags.
Okay.
Right,
And that's
right.
what we'll just do then.
What happened to those?
Yeah, cause those little
what
kids
else?
do have cell phones.
Right, but this says to keep it in the locker.
The PE clothes are under the,
They're toward the back.
as far as the price or the, like at the very beginning where it says gym suits or this and.
Right. I don't know. They were just asking could they divide it out because they put a lot of work into it last year and we didn't let them.
Oh, dear.
Yeah. And one more thing, internet, let's see, 2 sections, the South Parkview. Oh, the calendar, the school calendar is in the back, could that be toward the front? I said I would ask.
When they tear off the back page, I think they talked about they tear off for the parent
But
side,
then,
then
that's what Mick said, that way it would be better, because it would be on the back page and you just tear it off.
Right, put it on their fridge or.
Right, and that's what Mick
It's
had
all gonna be on the
commented.
internet, they're not gonna tear off the back page.
It's true.
You would put a special link just to the calendar
Don't
maybe,
kill the messenger.
and, well, and maybe put the link to the handbook in a more prominent area on the webpage
Right.
at the beginning of school.
And I think it makes it
Yeah,
easier to
'cause
put
it
the
is hard to-
calendar in the back.
And the
Because-
calendar is on a separate link on the website too.
Okay.
And it makes it easier probably putting the calendar in the back, because when you, the handbook's already there, you just
You're
attach
right.
it, that's the difference.
Mhm.
Yeah, I get it.
Right. Okay. Don't need to kill the messenger.
Well, I mean, they had some good suggestions,
They do,
and I
yeah.
said, you know, whatever policies, I mean, because they had some comments about headlights and things like that, and I said, we'll talk about it. But this is our
Right.
policy, and some policies we can't change, and they were happy, they just wanna make sure that that's what we're gonna do.
Right. And we are still following the headlights policy map,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Right? Okay. Just asking. All right, food service.
I have one for food service.
Okay.
I should have emailed you guys, I meant it, I kept
It's okay.
thinking it. I just don't want what happened in the past repeat itself. I want to make sure there's someone there for graduation, giving out,
Mm-hmm.
serving cookies and things like that. Thank you.
Now, there was some discussion, I know I talked with Linda, and he said we ran out of cookies last year. I talked to Miss Davis, he said,
Close.
It was close, we were starting giving only one away.
Mhm.
I think we had a lot of, we put them in a big ice cooler, and I think some of the cookies on the bottom, a lot of the cookies crumbled.
Some crumbled, but there was not enough for everyone to.
It was too close for comfort, so.
So
We
they
did
need
help
to,
it more.
we would request more,
We did.
please. And we don't mind helping, that was not my complaint. We just don't wanna be in charge of doing it, so.
People will be.
I don't mind helping, but I also know that they have a strong union,
Mhm.
and we're not supposed to.
I think that covered it. All right, are there any visitors wishing to address the board?
There is.
Please stand, your name.
My name is James Miner. I have 2 students in Parkview School,
Okay.
and I have a whole bunch of issues that I want to cover with you. I'm gonna do it chronologically, and I'm gonna try and do it fast so you guys can get out of here in a hurry.
Well, exactly what is it? Is it generic, or are you talking about a certain person or student?
I'm specific. These are specific. We'll start back in January.
Well, now, we won't do that in open session if it's specific people,
Okay.
okay?
It is specific people, most certainly.
Okay, then I would like to invite you into closed session, and you can talk with us there.
Okay, and when would that be?
About
But when you
10
guys are done
minutes?
tonight,
10
sounds
minutes.
good to me.
And I do
We'll
want
do
to
it right
ask you,
now.
have you talked with the principal about these issues?
I have addressed the principal multiple occasions. I've addressed
Superintendent?
teachers. I've addressed Mr. Whiston personally.
Okay.
As a matter of fact, Mr. Whiston and I just had words about it on Friday.
Okay, then, we will see you in about 10 minutes.
Thank you.
Okay. I think we need a motion for executive
Make a
session.
motion to enter an executive session for student matters, employment, compensation, discipline, performance, and dismissal of specific employees of the public body, collective bargaining matters between public body and exclusive representatives of its certified employees, and review of executive session minutes from regular meeting held April 10th, 2018 at 7:12.
Do we have a second?
Giddens?
Aye.
Gagel? Aye. Valrigan? Aye. Tyler?
Aye.
Griner?
Aye.
Bailey?
Aye, motion carried. 10-minute break. Okay, we need a motion to resume regular session.
Make the motion to resume regular session at 9:10.
Second.
Roll call.
Giddens,
Aye.
Cagle,
Aye.
Catherine Reagan,
Aye.
Val Reagan, Tyler,
Aye.
Griner, aye, Bailey.
Motion carried. In executive session, we did discuss personnel. Guess that's all. We need a motion.
Student matters, student matters.
And student matters. We need a motion regarding contract.
Make a motion to approve agreements with school consulting for curriculum and staff professional development services for the 2018-2019 school year, not to exceed $28,800.
Second.
Giddens,
Aye.
Cagle,
Aye.
Catherine Reagan,
Aye.
Val Reagan,
Aye.
Tyler,
Aye.
Griner, aye, Bailey.
Aye, motion carried. There's nothing else. I will make the motion we adjourn at 9:12.
Second. Giddens,
Aye.
Cagle,
Aye.
Catherine Reagan,
Aye.
Val Reagan, Tyler,
Aye.
Griner, aye, Bailey.
Aye, motion carried. Meeting adjourned.